yes, Soulsborne challenges. You know, the only thing I enjoy more than endlessly watching them on YouTube is thinking about doing one myself. And I do mean thinking, not actually doing it. Because after you binge around 30 challenge runs in 3 days, where people literally chug laxatives and somehow finish the base game in 2 hours without shitting themselves, you start to believe Elden Ring might not be that hard. Maybe I could beat Margit on my first try, you whisper to yourself. Haha, yeah, no. Across all my Elden Ring runs, well, one full run and a dozen abandoned ones, I've always liked the idea of sticking to a specific archetype. You know, Paladin, Barbarian, Amazon, that sort of thing. Most of these are easy to replicate in Elden Ring thanks to a lot of flexible mechanics, weapons, spells, and etc. But then I came across something that caught my attention. The Artificer, one of the newer additions to the Dungeons and Dragons class lineup. And after diving into the class, I thought, what if I try to recreate the Artificer in Elden Ring and actually beat the game with it? So yeah, let's break it down. So the Artificer is essentially a techno-mage, a crafter of magical tools and infused gear. They often have mechanical limbs and they can even summon a robot companion like a mechanical dog or a bear or a hawk or maybe even an automaton to help out in a battle, of course. It's a class dripping with steampunk and cyberpunk flavor, which really speaks to me. As with other D&D classes, the Artificer has 4 subclasses. Alchemist, that crafts potions and concoctions, Battlesmith, that fights alongside a steel companion, Armorer, that uses powered armor to boost defense and offense, and Artillerist, that focuses on magical guns and cannons. So naturally, because there's not a lot of subclasses for Artificer, I will try to incorporate elements of all 4 subclasses into the build. But at the same time, it's not all arcane tack and glory. There are some limitations, of course. For example, Artificers in D&D are restricted to simple weapons only. That means clubs, daggers, spears, but no so-called martial weapons like swords or axes. And in Elden Ring terms, that rules out most of the good melee weapons. Artificers are also an intelligence-based class, but they don't use wands or staff to cast magic. And unfortunately, Elden Ring only allows spellcasting through staffs or certain unique weapons, many of which we also can't use. So instead we'll rely on Ashes of War and consumable items to simulate spellcasting, essentially treating tools and gear as our source of magic. So yeah, after digging into the Elden Ring wiki and some trial and error testing, I settled on the following rules and goals. So as for the rules, spellcasting is only allowed via Ashes of War or consumables to simulate infused tools. Weapons must be simple: daggers, clubs, maces, and spears. All weapons should be magic or cold infused. Combat must rely on crafting and careful preparation, as per the right tool for the job philosophy. As for the build, I would go for Strength Int Hybrid. It reflects magical aptitude and the sturdy health pool of the Artificer. We will use poison, bombs, and pots to represent the Alchemist. At the same time, we can summon mechanical or animal-themed ashes to simulate the Battlesmith. We can, if possible, equip heavy armor for the Armorer aesthetic, and of course we can wield ballistas and cannons to fulfill the Artillerist role. As for the lore, we will be playing as a disgraced former student of Raya Lucaria, someone who leaned too heavily into Magitech, crossed a few arcane lines and got expelled. And of course, because of that, one of our goals would be to kick Renala's ass. And after that, our end goal, I would say, would be to retrieve Marika's hammer, like the ultimate crafting tool. So we start the game and I named my character Gary Wrench. Yeah, maybe not the best name, and only maybe after 5 hours of playing it came on to me that Monkey D. Wrench would be a much better name, but oh well. So we start as a prisoner because we kind of like got condemned and expelled from Raya Lucaria, and I also get a cracked pot as a keepsake so we can start crafting right away. After I get outside, the first thing I do is sell my glintstone staff because we don't use that kind of heresy in Wrench household, and start setting up our build. So first things first, I decided that maces/hammers will be my weapon of choice for this run. It kind of fits thematically as a magic-infused tinkerer character, and there's also quite a few options available in the beginning of the game. And with that being said, I go ahead and pick up Morningstar, some Armorer cockbooks. Wait, cockbooks? I mean, who wrote that? Anyway, of course we buy 3 more cracked pots and a crafting kit from Calais, and finally a light crossbow. And yeah, I know that I could have gone and taken the hand ballista right away as well, but honestly, I forgot about it, and yeah, let's do it like we progress gradually with our equipment as we level up, okay? Upon getting to Margit, maybe Morgoth. Upon getting to Margit, I decided to return to Round Table to upgrade my mace a bit, and also found a black Krapus crossbow behind a fog door in the basement, and 20 black bolts that I will hold on until the very end of the game and would end up never using. But yeah, this crossbow is actually better than the one we have, so I'll take it, after I get 16 decks, that is. For the Margit fight, I summoned my mechanical wolves and threw all my fire pots at him, only to die in the second phase. Well, if I ever defeat Margit on my first try, I will become an Elden Ring challenge YouTuber. But also then I remember that I'm actually using a hammer. Not only it has bleed, but hammers overall have a decent poise break. So I just went on with it, and 5 riposts after, Margit is down. Easy peasy. And before going straight to Godric, I decided to drop by Caelid and picked up some poison clumps and rotten stray spirit summon. My idea was to poison him and also scarlet rot him, but now I don't even think it's possible. I mean, like, it's not stackable, is it? In any case, I was so focused on dodging his attacks that I eventually didn't even notice that his HP went down faster than Grandma in a mosh pit. I also buy Spinning Weapon Ash of War to put on my mace and finally get that magic affinity. Right before Raya Lucaria. Did I mention I suck at this game? Liurnia. Arguably one of the most beautiful places in Lands Between. God damn it. Guys, Jesus. That's why we can't have nice things in Lands Between. Oh, damn it. Man, I haven't been here since my imprisonment. God damn it. These freshman students are the worst. Well, just gotta be careful. You know how they say, fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice. And before going for Red Wolf, I grabbed the Marionette Ashes, and this will be my primary summon for the rest of the game. And they are actually quite good. Very squishy of course, but at the same time, the fact that they are ranged, and there's also 2 of them, it is actually quite nice. Red Wolf goes down pretty fast, but I can't help not to notice that I don't do a lot of damage to him. Probably due to his 40% magic resistance and my magic infused mace. Hopefully it won't be an issue in the future. Before going to Renala, I take a quick detour for Glintblade Whetstone or Glintstone Wetblade, who gives a shit, and with that I can finally do a cold affinity on my mace, which is actually quite cool because now it can proc both bleed and frost. Are we cooking, chat? Is this real? And I also grabbed Twin Moon Crossbow, and yo, look at that reload animation. That's awesome. Haha! Feel my superiority, you stupid wizard. Oh, fuck you, Moongrim. And speaking about superiority, I also decided to grab the Ballista and Arrow Sting Talisman from Caelid because I heard from a very trusted source that Renala literally can't stand a giant arrow to the face. Look. No, not that one. And not that one as well. Here we go. No, really, the fight was not that bad apart from some bad RNG where she decided to summon all her summons at least 3 times in a row, and other than that, yeah, Hand Ballista swipes her off her feet, so it was easy. Alright, the main goal of getting revenge on my alma mater is done, so now I only need to go to Leyndell and finish the game. I think I remember it correctly. I get to Atlas Plateau, grab the Ritual Sword Talisman, extra pouch from Finger Maiden, and pop Renala's Filthy Soul for runes. You know guys, for me, Draconic Sentinel is never as passive as in other Elden Ring videos on YouTube. This asshole spams fireballs and lighting magic like he just snorted a line of glintstone dust and think he's Placido Sax. I mean, look at this spam. What the f is that, bro? Combine that with my absolute borderline psychologic inability to fight bosses on horses or on boars. Oh man, f that guy. And we actually have a problem. Rest in Scarlet Rot, you piece of draconic poop. butler, bring me my tea. Ow, ow, god damn it. That's why we can't have nice things in the capital. Everybody is insane. I grabbed the hammer, which is arguably the best and the strongest hammer in the game, and the only hammer that actually looks like one. And though it's not cool that we don't have that sweet bleed anymore, but the pure poise break on that thing makes all jimmies automatically rustled in 100-meter radius, which is good. Bonus points for understanding that joke. I love you. Subscribe. Ah yes, Papa Pissfree. Funny enough, he's considered to be an easy boss, but he was actually the first major roadblock for me. And that is because I'm not just that good with these bosses that require you to be always close and personal. Dodge all their attacks and punish them in the middle of the combo. Which is, come to think of it, is almost every boss in this game. So yeah, did I mention I suck at Elden Ring? In any case, I tried him for a couple of days. Yes, days. Until I managed to actually launch him in this loop where I would shoot him with a crossbow, he would dash and do his stomp, and then he would immediately do his 3-hit combo that I would punish with a jump attack. After that he would just dash back and do a defensive stomp, I would shoot him again, provoking his stomp and 3-hit combo again, and all the way until he's dead. Easy boss, first try. And actually, contrary to my beliefs, Morgoth was super easy. I just kind of managed to proc Stance Break and Frost on him, doing around 50% of his HP, then he went transition into stage 2, where I just broke him one more time, and that's it. Nice.
Shall not be forgiven.
After that I dropped by Mount Gelmir to grab the cannon jar, gathered some minor bells, killed a wannabe Astel with my new cannon, and finally it was time for us to take on the fire giant. And he was surprisingly not hard as well. And I remember it took me a long time to beat him during my very first playthrough. And here I decided to play safe and just went for his feet.
Is anyone in the lobby interested in buying my feet pics?
In the second phase. Though, when rewatching the footage, I also noticed that I actually procced Frost on him at the very end, so yeah, nice. We burned the Earth Tree, and actually at that moment I realized that I completely forgot that Farum Azula exists. I was sure that you burned the Earth Tree and you should wake up in the Ashen Leyndell. But oh well, one more boss to beat then, right? Even after all these years, all these locations are so beautiful. Ow! Ow! God damn it! That's why we can't have nice things in Farum Azula. I upgrade my jar cannon to +9 and Marionette's ashes to +6 and get absolutely flabbergasted by this watchdog. For Godskin Duo, I decided to use sleeping arrows for my crossbow, and the fight was actually quite easy. It took me maybe 4 to 5 arrows to put both Noble and Apostle to sleep, and after that you can easily get 2 or 3 charged R2s in, and most likely get a stance break too. So yeah, easy. I bonk another Draconian horseman that guards the door to Malekith, and oh boy, Malekith. It was a second roadblock for me, and I can clearly see a pattern here. Malekith, in his both phases, is not a boss that requires you to perfectly dodge and know all the openings. Also, for some reason, I find the first phase harder than the second one. Of course, the marionettes were an immense help, but for me, this boss is a clear skill issue. And eventually, it all came down to good RNG and a lucky stance break combined with a frost proc. I also can see a little bit of pattern here with the frost procs and stance breaks, you know.
Witness tarnished. I cover destined death.
Gideon, on the other hand, was a very fun fight, because he actually managed to beat me a couple of times, and it's hilarious how he becomes much harder if you can't just one-shot him during his opening speech. So I just decided to take Roddy McSniff here off his leash and just shoot him with pulley crossbow. It is also hilarious how he's scripted to dodge towards you, but because there are 3 arrows in a row, he always gets hit.
I know it's
stupid sexy Gideon Ofnir. For Godfrey, I actually managed to score a kill for him pretty early, on like second or third try by inflicting Scarlet Rot with pulley crossbow. But he also managed to kill me first and the kill didn't count.
Tarnished. Thy strength befits a crown.
Thank you, Elden Ring. In my frustration, I even went ahead and killed Morg, and actually the damage was not all that bad, so it gave me some confidence that I'm not underleveled or my build is not that bad. It's not that bad, right? I also understood that I don't have enough stamina to pull out all those charged R2s, so I also leveled endurance to 20. And after that, I finally managed to kill Godfrey by confusing and constantly changing his aggro between the two marionettes and myself. It also did help immensely that I stopped dying to his stomps all the time and finally learned how to dodge those.
Tarnished. Thy strength befits a crown.
And finally, it's time to beat the final boss. And for me, Radagon was always harder because he's pretty much relentless and everything he does has this weird 0.3 second delay that always catches me off guard. And Elden Beast is pretty much a battle of attrition and RNG. Sometimes he won't be doing a lot of running, and sometimes you need to dodge his ranged attacks for 7 hours before you can get 2 or 3 hits in. So my strategy was to use marionettes to confuse Radagon aggro again and blow him away with my cannon. And since marionettes would usually die in the first seconds of Elden Beast fight, I would need to fight it fair and square. And also, since Elden Bro here is immune to everything, I had to rely on my physical power. And also here, I should have finished him with a shot from a cannon, but I was clutching and not thinking at all at that moment. So it is what it is. And that's about it, guys. Elden Ring completed as an artificer. As for me, I definitely learned a thing or two along the way. It was a very different experience overall. I usually gravitate towards swords and flashy ashes of war, so this was a complete shift in playstyle. Hammers honestly didn't disappoint. There's solid damage output and cold infusion worked surprisingly well. Yeah, the range of hammers suck and lack of good ashes of war is definitely a drawback, but if you can land those sweet charged R2 bonks, most bosses drop like dead flies. What did disappoint me were the cannons and crossbows. There's no scaling, no unique ashes of war, just, kind of mid. The pulley crossbow has some utility for building up status effects like poison or scarlet rot, but outside of that, it's not very practical weapon type. Same goes for the hand ballista, the reload time is brutal and the damage doesn't quite make up for it. That said, they are still useful for open field combat. I found them quite effective for dealing with archers and ranged mobs at a distance. So they are not completely useless, just not the boss material. So here are my final stats and equipment, and if you are more experienced with Elden Ring or just like doing different builds and archetypes, I'd love to hear how you'd improve this build or challenge overall and make it more immersive. And of course, if this video hits at least 1000 views, I'll try to do another D&D class challenge in the future. If you like this format, drop a comment with suggestions for the next class and subclass I should try. And for anyone new to the channel, just a heads up, I usually focus on Platinum Trophy runs across various games. I'm not strictly an Elden Ring YouTuber, of course, so if you have time, check out my other content too, and see if that's your thing. Of course, don't forget to subscribe. We recently hit 500 subscribers milestone, and the next goal is 1000 subscribers before the end of the year. We've also unlocked channel memberships, so if you want to support me with actual money, like who even does that, you can now, do that too. You'll get custom emojis and a badge as thank you. I don't know what else I can give you guys. Thanks again for watching, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers!